Here's a riddle. What do you get when you mix genius engineers, astronomers who could outmath NASA, chocolatiers, and apocalypse schedulers? You get the Maya, one of the greatest civilizations in history, building city-sized pyramids in the jungle centuries before Europe figured out plumbing. And then, by the 9th century, their cities are abandoned. Whole urban centers, ghost towns. For centuries, people have asked, what happened to the Maya? Spoiler alert, they didn't get abducted by aliens, and they didn't vanish into thin air. The real story is messier, darker, and more human. So grab your metaphorical machete, because we're cutting through 10 shocking truths about the Maya collapse, and it's not what your high school textbook told you. Fact number 1, the drought that wouldn't quit. Let's start with the apocalypse fuel, climate. Around 929 AD, the Maya faced a drought that lasted 13 years straight. Not a typo, 13. Imagine 13 summers of your lawn turning to dust, but worse. Your entire food system collapses. Scientists piece this together by studying stalagmites in caves. Each mineral ring is basically a prehistoric weather diary. Thin layers mean no rain. And during the 9th century, those layers practically screamed desert mode. But it wasn't just one unlucky dry spell. The Maya faced multiple waves of megadroughts from the 8th to 10th centuries. Agriculture tanked, reservoirs cracked, and maize, the sacred crop, failed. Now picture millions of people relying on corn tortillas as their daily bread. And then the tortilla machine breaks for over a decade. That's civilization-level starvation. And the Maya had no backup Amazon Prime. But here's the crazy part. This wasn't some tiny village struggling in the dirt. At their peak, the Maya were a jungle megacity powerhouse. Fact number 2, 16 million people, no Wi-Fi. Forget the image of scattered ruins. At their peak, the Maya supported as many as 16 million people, spread across cities so dense they make Manhattan look like a sleepy suburb. We only know this thanks to LiDAR, lasers mounted on planes that shoot through the jungle canopy to map the land below. Think X-ray vision for archaeologists. With it, researchers uncovered highways, terraces, canals, fortresses, and entire suburbs. This wasn't just survival, it was urban overdrive. Raised causeways connected cities, reservoirs fed populations, and temples rose higher than most medieval cathedrals. Tikal, Calakmul, Karakol, each one was a metropolis with tens of thousands of people. The engineering is mind-blowing. In some areas, they reshaped landscapes, leveling hills, redirecting rivers, and farming every square inch. It's like terraforming Mars, but in a rainforest. The Maya didn't just live in the jungle, they tamed it. But civilizations that big don't just vanish. The people didn't disappear, they transformed. Fact number 3, collapse doesn't mean extinction. The word collapse is misleading. It paints a picture of a civilization vanishing like Atlantis. But the Maya didn't disappear, they pivoted. Big cities like Tikal and Copan emptied out. Kings lost thrones, temples stopped going up, and scribes stopped carving hieroglyphs. But the people, they migrated. They shifted to smaller communities and blended into rural life. And they're still here. Today, over 6 million Maya descendants live in Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras. They speak Mayan languages, wear traditional textiles, and keep cultural traditions alive. The collapse wasn't an ending, it was decentralization. If anything, the Maya prove a civilization doesn't need skyscrapers and monuments to survive. Sometimes it's the people, not the palaces, that carry the culture forward. But while the culture survived, the kings didn't all go quietly. Some went out in style, like one founding ruler whose tomb just resurfaced. Fact number 4, Tikab the founding king of Karakol. In 2025, archaeologists hit the jackpot. The tomb of Tikab, the founding ruler of Karakol in Belize. This wasn't just any burial, it was the first identifiable royal tomb found at the site after 40 years of digging. Inside were jade masks, obsidian blades, painted ceramics, the royal starter kit. Tikab was buried around AD 350 during the rise of classic Maya civilization. His tomb wasn't just a grave, it was a political statement. The Maya buried kings with cosmic bling to emphasize their divine right to rule. This discovery is huge. For decades, scholars debated Karakol's rise. Was it a backwater? A late bloomer? Nope. Chak's tomb says, "We were here early and we were powerful." It's a reminder that the Maya collapse wasn't just about climate. It was also about leaders, politics, and legacy. Speaking of politics, what happens when your neighbors aren't just neighbors, but rival superpowers? Fact number 5. Tikal meets Teotihuacan, the ancient crossover. Tikal, one of the great Maya capitals, wasn't isolated. An altar discovered there was painted in a style straight out of Teotihuacan, the giant city in central Mexico hundreds of miles away. This means Tikal wasn't just fighting Maya neighbors, it was playing the Mesoamerican Game of Thrones. There were embassies, marriages, alliances, and betrayals stretching across regions. Imagine Washington, D.C. and Beijing secretly swapping architects. That's the level of crossover. Teotihuacan at its peak was one of the largest cities on Earth. Their fingerprints at Tikal show the Maya weren't an isolated jungle kingdom. They were plugged into a continental power grid. But while politics shaped the Maya above ground, lasers are rewriting what we thought we knew beneath the jungle canopy. Fact number 6. Valeriana, the hidden metropolis. LiDAR strikes again. In Campeche, Mexico, researchers uncovered a lost city called Valeriana. Pyramids, plazas, ball courts, reservoirs. An entire metropolis spanning nearly 50 square miles. And until 2023, it was invisible under the trees. Every year, lasers reveal thousands of new structures. We used to think the jungle was dotted with isolated cities. Turns out it was a massive interconnected network, like a rainforest Manhattan sprawled across hundreds of miles. Valeriana proves we've barely scratched the surface of Maya civilization. There are still secrets sleeping under the jungle floor. And if Valeriana blew our minds, wait until you meet their grandparents, the cities that came before the Maya Golden Age. Fact number 7. Los Abuelos, grandparents of civilization. In 2025, archaeologists discovered Los Abuelos, a city in Guatemala dating back nearly 3,000 years, long before the classic Maya. This wasn't a primitive village. It had pyramids, murals, statues, and sophisticated water systems as far back as 800 to 500 BC. Think of it as the prequel series, setting the stage for everything the Maya later perfected. Los Abuelos proves the Maya didn't just suddenly emerge as geniuses. Their civilization was centuries in the making, layer upon layer of innovation, politics, and urban growth. It's like discovering Rome had a grandparent empire we barely knew existed. But even with deep roots and genius engineering, civilizations crumble under invisible enemies. Enter disease. Fact number 8. The microbe problem. Life in giant jungle cities came with a catch: disease. With millions packed into dense urban centers, cutting forests, and farming maize nonstop, you get a breeding ground for pathogens. Archaeologists suggest illnesses like trypanosomiasis, parasites, and waterborne diseases ravaged populations. And here's the kicker: their maize-heavy diet made recovery harder. Too much corn, not enough protein, equals weak immune systems. So while kings squabbled in drought-starved fields, invisible microbes were picking off the population. Civilization doesn't need an asteroid to collapse. Sometimes diarrhea is enough. And if germs didn't get them, politics sure did. Because no empire falls without some good old-fashioned human drama. Fact number 9. Politics, betrayal, and too many kings. The Maya political system was built on rival city-states. Each king had to constantly prove legitimacy through wars, alliances, and temple projects. By the 8th century, dynasties overextended. Wars drained resources, elites got greedy, and nobles challenged central power. Imagine a Fortune 500 company where every regional manager decides they're the real CEO. Chaotic. That's what happened. The political system cannibalized itself. And once kings fell, the infrastructure holding cities together unraveled. But even as the system collapsed, ordinary Maya proved they were survivors. And their survival strategy? Food hacks. Fact number 10. The Maya foodscape. Resilience through roots. The Maya weren't one-crop wonders. Beyond maize, they grew manioc, harvested nuts, fruits, and even used tree bark as famine food. They built terraces, drained swamps, and invented raised fields that functioned like hydroponics before hydroponics was cool. This diversity kept them going. While cities crumbled, families survived by adapting their diets. That's why millions of Maya descendants are alive today. The kings may have fallen, but the farmers won the long game. So what really happened to the Maya? Not aliens, not vanishing acts. Just a mix of drought, disease, dynastic drama, and human resilience. The cities emptied, the kings fell, but the people lived on, and still do. And honestly, that's not a story of collapse. It's a story of survival. If you love history with plot twists sharper than obsidian blades, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and join me for more deep dives into the civilizations that shaped our world. Until then, keep your reservoirs full, your dynasties humble, and never underestimate the power of a tortilla.